Hello guys and welcome to another MK Mobile character ranking. Today we are ranking the top 10 worst gold characters in the game. And once again, if a character is in this video, it doesn't necessarily mean that I consider him or her as a bad character. In fact, once again, positions 10 to 5, I don't necessarily believe that those characters are bad. It just happened that if I have to rank all characters in the game, all gold characters in this particular case, I have to rank certain characters in the bottom. In other words, they're simply not good enough. They are not necessarily bad, just not good enough. And once again, this ranking is absolutely biased, totally prejudiced, so feel free to disagree. So right off the bat, let us jump to number 10. Coming in at number 10 is the gold variation of Goro. Yes, it is called Tigre Fury Goro or Tiger Fury Goro, it doesn't really matter. The point is, this guy has very clumsy basic attacks. Two of his special attacks can be blocked. In addition, his passive is chance based. The chance isn't that great, and even when it works, it isn't really great. In other words, you have chance for something to happen, and when this something happens, it isn't a big deal. So in general, Goro is just okay, but there are much better gold cards. This is the reason why he ranks at number 10. Ranking at number 9 is Classic SubZero. I can talk a lot about Classic SubZero, guys, but don't get me wrong, he can be an absolute beast, especially if you manage to do good on his minigame. Then he's going to be absolute beast. His special 2 can kill any character in the game. Problem is though that you have to be very good at this minigame, and even if you are, it just doesn't pay off. There are so many other characters that can finish off an enemy opponent with one single special 2 without having to deal with this incredibly difficult minigame. So it is simply not good enough. So what you get for being that great on this minigame isn't enough. I would understand if this special 2 will transfer on the second enemy. Let's say you have an opponent, you start special 2, you kill the opponent in the process, then the other enemy tags in and the special 2 chaining continues. Then I would understand. But currently it is really bad, and on top of that, there's so many resurrections, there's so many bone shields, Revenant that can simply stop Classic SubZero in his tracks. So sorry, my opinion is not really that high of Classic SubZero. There is simply no need to play this character at all. He is totally underwhelming, and even if you are great at his minigame, once again, it simply doesn't pay off. Ranking at number 8 is Kraken Reptile. I will admit that this character is very fun to play. He is very fast, good basic attacks, especially if given block breaker. He is insanely fast. Problem is though that he doesn't really have a working and useful passive. It feels like you're playing a character without passive. And that's one of the biggest issues actually in the game, because every single time when I play Kraken Reptile, I honestly just totally forget about his passive and I just try to assert dominance by spamming special 1, hitting the enemy, then repeating the whole exercise, because the only time when his passive works is when Kraken Reptile gets hit. And I don't want to get hit. I don't care whether I'm going to deal some damage to the enemy if he hits me, because once again, I don't want to get hit, and that's the biggest problem. You cannot just design a character who has a passive that works only if you get hit. I would understand if his passive has a smaller chance to get triggered if you are hitting the enemy, but since it doesn't, then I'm sorry, Kraken Reptile ranks at number 8, worst gold characters in the game, in my opinion. Ranking at number 7, guys, is Scorch Bard. I'm going to be honest, I hate Scorch Bard. I hate everything about him. I hate his ugly combo ender with his high kick. I hate his special 1. I hate his passive. I hate the way he looks. But in general, I do believe that he's one of the worst characters in the game, because his passive works only on him. He's kind of designed to be a fighter, but he's one of the slowest and worst fighters in the game. And it is true that he has special 1. Power drain, and that's always useful on any character, but that's more or less the best thing on him. If you want to have a fighter in the game, a gold fighter, there are plenty of better choices. If you want to have better opener, again, there are plenty of other choices. Once again, Scorch Bard works only for himself. He doesn't boost your team in any possible way. So I would never ever use Scorch Bard in a team. Sadly, he ranks at number 7 in our current video. Ranking at number 6, guys, is Shokan Warrior Kintaro. Poor Kintaro. I actually used to enjoy him before update 3.0 and before teamwork was nerfed to the ground, because at this time using a character with unblockable specialty was always good. Teamwork was extremely overpowered, and basically you can use Kintaro in any team that has unblockable specialty. Just use him, do special to tag him out, then tag in other character, do special to tag him out, repeat the process until the enemy team is dead. Unfortunately, after update 3.0 this is no longer the case. You cannot do that. Kintaro has close to useless passive, one of the worst passives in the game, especially for a gold challenge character. His basic attacks are terrible, his special one can be blocked and it doesn't really deal a lot of damage. The only thing good about him is his special too, but still, if you want to build a good gold challenge team, you would never ever use Kintaro in this team, because once again there are simply better alternatives. Okay guys, we are in our top 5 worst gold characters in MK Mobile, and ranking at number 5 is Ujitsukunjin. Now this is a very special case, because Kunjin has a pretty nice passive. It's very unique, very useful and very fun to utilize. The biggest problem here is that Kunjin isn't designed for this passive. I would understand if this was the passive for classic Jax, for example. Unfortunately for me it isn't. But giving this passive to one of the squishiest characters in the game simply doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Though once again, I admit it's very fun to use, and in some situations I would use Ujitsukunjin myself just to have some fun. But you cannot expect from such a squishy character to have such type of passive. Especially if the enemy has block breaker, then you are in a big trouble. So once again, very nice passive, but the wrong character for it. This is the reason why Ujitsukunjin ranks at number 5 worst characters in the game. Coming in at number 4 is Commandokunjin. Now, if I was doing this review, actually this video, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, I would have placed Commandokunjin as the worst character in the game. However, he got recently buffed. Now he has stun on special 1, and I think that he isn't really that bad. He's still bad, but not really that bad compared to what he used to be 2 or 3 months ago, because at that time he didn't have stun on special 1, so he had special 1, special 2 without any buffs or debuffs whatsoever, and this was really sad to see. Still, his passive is underwhelming, his special 2 can miss, and in general he doesn't really deal a lot of damage, but once again, stun on special 1s is something useful all the way. This is the reason why Commandokunjin is not going to be at number 1, but he goes at number 4. Number 3, guys, is shared between 2 characters. Yes, you heard me right. It is shared between 2 characters because I couldn't decide which one is the worst one. The first one is Swarm Queen Devora, and the second one is Injustice Scorpion. Those 2 characters, I really don't like them. Devora is kind of fun to play because every time when you do special 2 it feels like Christmas. You never know what's going to happen. And Scorpion, again, is a character who almost doesn't have any passive. Still, he can lock enemies in stun lock, and this is always useful. So both of these characters have their usage, I would say. They're not completely unusable, but still one of the worst characters in the game. If you have any other characters, you would almost certainly never use them in any fight, any game mode. So this is the main reason why I decided they should be ranked at number 3. And once again, I just couldn't decide for myself which one of them is worse. I knew that they had to be in my top 10, but I just couldn't decide which one of them is worse. In my opinion, they're both bad. It doesn't mean that they cannot work, they can, but I will say that again, you simply have much better options. And ranking at number 2, guys, is a character that probably a lot of you even forgot that he existed. Yes, he is a martial artist and literally nobody uses him because his passive is heavily outdated. It is outdated to an extent that honestly, a lot of players would forget about this character at all. Nobody uses this character. Once again, there is no reason to use him because he's unusable, and this character is Shaolin Master Kung Lao. Even if we agree that his passive is unique in the sense that it boosts bronze characters and now they kind of feel strong when they're in a team with him, the biggest problem still remains that bronze characters are weak in general. They don't have a lot of special attacks and their gameplay is boring. So even if they get stronger in terms of stats and damage, they still will have the boring gameplay and nobody would like to use them. That's the main problem with Shaolin Master Kung Lao. Not to mention that you cannot, for example, use them in Fatal Tower, so this character cannot be used in Fatal Tower, which basically means that if you decide to use him for any reason, you'll be using a character without any passive. And that's a big problem, a huge problem. At least he has a bleed on special too, which is something, and at least he has some kind of a good stats. So, apart from that, I would never ever use this character in any game mode. He simply is unusable. And this is the main reason why he is the runner-up of this video. And ranked at number 1, the winner, the worst gold character in my opinion is Spectre Ermac. Probably KC Mobile Gaming will strongly disagree, but I have my opinion and I'm sticking with it. The reason why I believe that Spectre Ermac is the worst gold character in the game is simple. His passive is absolutely worthless, totally trashed and not working in survival mode. And let's face it, survival mode is almost everything now. If you're good in survival mode, you're going to get a lot of characters easy, fast. You're going to improve your collection. If you're not very good at survival mode, then you're not going to improve your collection that fast. Quick mode is not really a thing now. Everything is focused on survival mode. You have to be good there. And Spectral Ermac is simply not working there. There is nothing good about him. He has clumsy basic attacks. His special 2 deals pretty good damage, I have to admit, even for a basic gold character. But man, his passive. If you play this character in a Fatal Tower, let's say 12 battles, this means that for 12 battles you have no passive. And that's really, really bad. Just think about it. A character with absolutely no passive whatsoever. It's really sad. And the main reason why Spectre Ermac is going to win the current episode. Every single character before him had, let's say, more or less bad passive, but you can at least use it somewhere. Let's take for example Goro. It's just chance based, but you have 25% chance to set the enemy on fire on combo ender, which is still something. Once again, I don't consider it to be amazingly great, but it is still something. For Ermac, you simply don't have passive. Even Commandokunjin has 25% increased critical chance, while Ermac has no passive in survival mode. Literally, no passive. Sorry. So, in my opinion, guys, Spectre Ermac is the worst gold character in the game. So, if we have to summarize, at the end of the day, it seems that I hate Outworlders. Because 8 of the 10 positions in the video were taken by Outworld characters and only 2 by martial artists. So please let me know in the comments whether you agree with me. Do you think that Outworld characters are predominantly bad? Of course, when it comes to just gold characters. It will be really interesting to me to see what you think down below in the comment section. So this is going to be all from me for today, guys. See you next time. Take care and stay safe.
Perfect.